Hi everyone, it's Kelly from Kellie's Bead Boutique. So you may be wondering, why is she at her house with a weird view and it looks like it's recorded and this is not live? That's because this is not live. So one of our best friends is celebrating his 60th birthday this weekend, and this trip has been planned for a very long time. And I was really worried about how I was going to deal with all of this, how I was going to do a live. I'm kind of not like Candy Cooper. I can't do it from the back seat of my car. She's the master at that. So I talked to the, all the group, and they said, well, why don't you just record your, tutorial, and I'm sure everybody will be fine with it. So thank you so much for allowing me to go away for this weekend. I'm still going to give you some really great content. It's just going to be not live. So you can still interact, and I'll do my very best, probably Sunday, Monday, to try to, answer a few questions, but I'm going to be gone for the majority of the weekend. So I'm going to be off having some fun for the very first time in a long time. So I'm really looking forward to it. I do apologize for the little circles that you see in my glasses. It's really hard when you wear glasses and you need to have some sort of lighting. In my new studio that my husband's building me, we're going to get somebody in. I'm going to try and find an AV specialist or IT specialist or somebody, whatever you call it, and see about getting some lighting where I can do these face videos with not ending up with these circles, because I look like a bit of a mutant right there. Hey, that's a good look. I should just sit like this. So I try to kind of duck and swerve and, there's a good look. But anyway, I know I'm being silly, but that's kind of how I roll. So I pre-apologize for the silliness in my eyeglasses, but it's what happens. Anyway, if you don't know who I am, I'm Kelly. I'm the crazy Kelly from Kellie with Kellie's Bead Boutique. Say that 3 times fast. Anyway, at the present time, I have a beautiful brick and mortar store just outside of Vancouver, British Columbia. If you've watched my prior couple videos ago, you'll know that we are moving fully online, probably mid-August. So there's lots of stuff going on right now. We're doing clearances in the store. Head to our clearance page. Oh gosh, you guys obliterated it yesterday. We were laughing because it was so full and now it's so empty. So I'm going to keep loading it up when time permits. But there are some fantastic deals on there. So now, going forward with this video, I am offering 20% off on your orders this weekend. So I'm going to have this 20% off until Monday, I think it is April the 11th at midnight. And to use the 20% off, you just need to use the coupon code SPRING. Doesn't matter if it's in lowercase or uppercase. You just go down to pretty much right where your cart total is, and you'll see a little box and it says apply coupon. So you just type the word SPRING in there and press apply coupon. If you don't apply the coupon, I can't do it after the fact. It really just doesn't work, and it's just so much paperwork because we get a lot of orders during this. Thank you. But it's just too much paperwork. So please make sure to press the coupon box or the coupon SPRING and apply the coupon. Now, the coupon is not available on clearance, kits, or on tools. So if you only have kits in your cart and try to use the coupon SPRING, it won't work. I get a ton of emails saying, I'm trying to use the coupon and it's not working. And then I ask the customer what they have in their cart, and it's all kits. So make sure you can have some kits in there, but you're only going to get the 20% off on the things that aren't kits, coupons, or sometimes it's hard to do these things. You're only going to get the 20% off on everything except for kits, clearance, and tools. Hopefully that makes sense. So it's just simple SPRING, and you will save 20%. One of the questions that I've been getting a lot lately is, do we ship to the United States? Well, thank you, American people, because you're predominantly my customers. Probably 80%, or if not even higher, of my sales are to the United States. Now, the bonus that you guys get is not only affordable shipping, at least I think it is, because in Canada, our shipping is terribly expensive, but I can ship to Orlando, Florida for way cheaper than I can ship to the next province over. It's crazy. Anyway, so not only do you get affordable shipping, but you'll get the benefit of the exchange rate, whatever that is. And right now it's hovering around the 25% mark. So your bank, once the financial stuff all goes through, will give you about 25% of a break on your purchase. So you not only save if you use the 20% off, but then you'll save a little bit more. So, thank you very much for doing all the shopping that you do with me. I really appreciate it. So, and yes, we ship to the United States. We ship usually 2 or 3, sometimes even 4 times a week. So you'll get your stuff really quickly. Now we do have Easter coming up, so that might delay the shipments by a few days because, you know, we've got that sort of like 4-day gap with the carriers. They don't all ship. So please be patient over the holiday season. All right. So right now what I'd like you to do is I would like you to leave me a comment and tell me what the weather is like in your neck of the woods. I live on we call it the West Coast or Wetcouver. It's pouring rain here all the time. Sure, it's luscious and green and gross and disgusting, but it's awful out there. You know, we just, you get so tired of the rain. You see the sun come out and all you see is Vancouverites running outside going, oh, because the weather is terrible here for about 8 months. It's really, really bad. So tell me what the weather is like in your area. And I'm going to pick 2 winners for free kits from all the people that comment on what the weather is like in your area. I know it's like it runs the gamut across the board. And I always like to hear what it's like in your area because, you know, maybe one day I'll move to some place where it's not so darn wet. The other thing is I have 3 different colorways in my tutorial today. I have my personal favorite, which I mentioned, well, I kind of have 2, but I mentioned them in the tutorial. But once you start to see what I'm making, or unless you already know what they are, I want you to leave me a comment somewhere along the way. You don't have to do it right now. You can do it a little later on, but make sure to leave a comment and tell me what colorway is your favorite. And out of all those comments, I'm going to pick 2 more people to win 2 free kits. So there's a total of 4 kits that you can win. Well, actually just 2, but because it just 4 people will win different kits, and maybe somebody will win from each comment. You never know. So you'll get some opportunities to win. Now make sure, I think somebody will probably post a link somewhere. I usually have some Vannas in the background. Make sure that you enter the huge giveaway that all the people participating, all of our presenters have contributed to a huge giveaway that Candy Cooper always takes care of. And there's some great pictures. I'll try to remember to insert something in here. But there's some really great stuff, and I mean there's hundreds of dollars worth of stuff, and a few people have won them and then commented on how exciting it is to get this big box or basket or whatever Candy sends out full of all these goodies. So make sure that you enter all these things, because who does not like getting free stuff? Right, so that's about it for the introduction part on this. Now I would like you to try and stay around to the end, or at the very least come back at the end. Okay, because I'm going to have something else that I want to tell you at the end. So I'm going to show you my tutorial now, and then there's going to be a little bit of a sort of an exit chat. And so have some fun, and I really hope that you enjoy what I'm doing today. All right, so for today we have 3 different colors for our kits. We have the blue and bronze, which is on the bronze metallic leather. And then I have the one that's really spring, I think I called it purple something. I can't remember the names of all of them, and I should have known that. Anyway, this one, it has all kinds of beautiful colors in it and purples. And then this one that I'm going to be working on today has the Algae teal, and it sort of has this hazelnut kind of color, which I think is so pretty. So the difference with these ones are these 2 have one solid color around the outside of the flower, and then the inside is a singular color. This one has multiple colors around the outside, but it has purple as your inside color. So they will be constructed exactly the same, but you will have to just sort of choose which ones you want to go around on the outside. And there are purples in the mix too, so you can see on the odd one like here, and this one here, and this one here, I've actually used, they're different colors of purple, so I have used purple on the outside, but I have kept these other purples separate and use those for the center. So hopefully that all kind of makes sense, but I will explain a lot as I'm going along. In your kit, you're going to get a piece of 10mm leather, and this is about 7.5 inches long. Now you will have to cut that down. The reason that we gave so much leather is that we want our sizes to be inclusive. I'm a plus size gal, and I always get so frustrated when I see a really cute bracelet and I want to buy it, and then it's made for somebody that's, you know, like a size 2. So we have this nice and long for everybody, and this one should fit up to close to an 8-inch wrist. You could add a little bit extra on with our clasp to try and lengthen it out a little bit, but this should fit just about everybody. Now, sometimes you'll get your leather and it might have a blemish in it. This one does have a little bit of a blemish on it, but we're going to be covering that up anyway, so I'm not really too worried about it. Now we are going to cut this down, and I will show you how to do that in a bit. We're also going to be using some 2mm leather, and this is in an antique brown, and this one is also in a brown. And then we've got some dark chocolate 3-ply Irish wax linen, and we're going to be using one of our barrel knot tubes to make life easier. And of course, you know I have to do barrel knots. And we're going to be using a beautiful button from Tierra Cast. I've got a 10mm ribbon end. I've got a couple little 2x2 crimps. And I've also got some small jump rings. And these are just the little ones that I like to use all the time. They're the 18 gauge 4mm. And then we have our 2 different colors of Czech Glass. So these are 3mm fire polish. And we're going to give you a full strand of the one color, and you'll have lots left over. And then we'll give you enough plus a couple extra of the center color. So you'll have plenty to work with. And for tools today, we're just going to be needing a couple pairs of pliers to open and close our jump rings. And then we need something like a pair of scissors or a pair of cutters, whatever you've got. And maybe a ruler and a pencil might be helpful. So now, as far as sizing goes on this, you are going to have to, do a little bit of math. So the way that I kind of worked it out is that, the difference between our ends here, so let me grab one that I made here. Once we add our ends here, it's about an inch or so on there, but it's not quite. Like it looks bigger than it actually is. So what I have found is that on this one here, this piece of leather is 6 1/4 inches. And by the time we add all this kind of stuff on there, it comes out to fit about a 6 3/4, 6 1/2 inch wrist. So this one here, I made a bit larger, and the leather on this one is 6 5/8, and it fits about a 7 1/2 to a 7 3/4. So you're going to have to kind of take off about an inch or so, and then kind of, play around with it a little bit. We can create it this part first, and then you can cut this down last, just to kind of get an idea on your sizing. So it's not a perfect science, but this is about, let me just grab my ruler here. This is just over, it's about an inch, but I find that it actually works out just a little bit less than that once you get it on. So I don't like to wear my bracelets tight, so that's kind of how I figured it out. So on this one, I'm going to probably do about 6 1/2 inches, and we'll see where we end up on that. So now at the store, we have these fancy cutters that are kind of like a razor cutter, and they make this really easy. And I've actually never done this with just a pair of scissors. So we're going to do it together and see how it goes. So I'm going to go about, I'll go about 6 1/2, and we'll see what size we end up with. Now, I always mark everything because I don't know about you, but I am just not very good at eyeballing things when it comes to, cutting things like leather. So I want to make sure that I actually know where I'm cutting. So I just kind of cut or put a little mark there with my pencil. You can use a pen, whatever you'd like. So now I'm going to go straight across and cut that. And you can see that this is a little bit tough. I probably have a really lousy pair of scissors here. So what I'm going to do, I've got a pair of cutters here. I'm just going to kind of start that with my cutters. Now, like I said, at the store, we have a fancy pair of these little shears that work really well. So actually a good pair of cutters works nicely. Now, don't worry if your end gets a little kind of mucked up, like this one's got a little bit of a mark on it from the scissors, which I don't really like, but we're going to be covering it with our ribbon end, so you won't even see anything on there. So you want to make sure when you're cutting it that you're cutting it on the end that does not have the hole. We need this hole to create our clasp that we're going to make with the leather, so you want to make sure that you are not cutting the wrong end. And so you can see that this is not straight at all now, but again, once we put this over the top, you're not going to see anything. So, don't worry about being completely perfect. I wouldn't cut it on a big sharp angle, but try to keep it as close as you can. So, and find maybe a pair of scissors that are really sharp, or a pair of cutters that are really sharp, and then you shouldn't have too many problems. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put on our beads first. So we've got our 3 ply wax, Irish wax linen. Now, if you watch Heather Powers, what she does is she takes a piece of, I think she takes like a piece of paper or a lunch bag or something, and she runs it over top of this to remove a little bit of the wax because it can get a little gummy on your fingers. And I think that's a really great tip. So try doing that if you're not really a fan of getting that wax on your hands. But the first thing I'm going to do is take my end and kind of get it, I'm going to roll it together. That's the nice thing about Irish wax linen. When you roll it in the direction that it's supposed to go, like if you go the other way, it's going to undo. But if you roll it in the other direction, it will kind of form a little bit of a needle. So I am going to go through there, and I'm just creating like a little loop on the end. And that will just make it easier to get the leather in here. All right. Try to make sure I'm on frame here. It's the only one of the things that's kind of hard about doing this not live is that I don't have my second camera to see where I am. So I'm going to do my best to try and stay on camera. So I apologize if I'm not. Now, the little piece that we're going to make here, I'll use this one because this one was a better representative of what we should be doing, and I'll explain what I mean here. I'll take both of them apart and show you. So this one here, if you look at the little flower grouping that I made here, there's 6 flowers in there, or 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that is about 2.5 inches. So I need to kind of take 2.5 inches and deduct it and do some math. And you know, I just don't like doing that. It annoys me. So I just kind of eyeball it a little bit. This one I didn't do as tight, and it worked out almost 3 inches. And I will explain that a little bit on how we can troubleshoot some of these things. So I'm going to sort of decide where I want this to land, and I am going to do about there or so. Because if I've got, let me get my ruler back here. Math is my least favorite thing ever. It makes me want to cry. So if I go up here, let's see, how far in is that? That's about 2 inches. And then, what did I say this was? Again, math, not my strong suit, nor is my memory. So that's 2.5 inches. So then if we did 2.5 inches, that would be about here. So I'm going to bump it back just a little bit. So I kind of just eyeball it and sort of figure out where I'm going to end. Now, there are some variables. Like when I said where we have this one, where it's a little bit looser, it ended up a lot larger, but I will show you sort of the better way to do it. So the nice thing about this is that our wrists are not completely round, so it doesn't really matter if you're not exact, because no one's going to go, oh my gosh, you've got like 1 3/4 inches and you've got 1 7/8 or something here. Just don't worry about it. But I sort of eyeball it and kind of look at my measurement and then go from there. And there are a couple things we can do if that's not working out. Okay, so what I want to do is create that loop, and I'm going to tighten it up. So I'm going to use both fingers, so I'm going to grab on this side, and then I'm going to pull it tight and like that. So I want that snugged up in there, because now I need to come on this side of the leather. If I go on this side of the leather with my tools, I'm going to make a mark on there. So I want to come on this side and crimp that down, and I'm just pushing against it. So then this way it'll do exactly what I need it to do, which is to hold tight, but it won't mark up the leather on this side. But you can see it kind of did there, but we're going to be covering it, so it's fine. Now what I would do for just a little bit of extra security, but I'm not going to do it because I would need some dry time, is I would take a little dab of GS Hypo Cement and just put a dot on either side of that crimp, just to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere. Now I'm going to take a pair of cutters and I'm going to just trim that off. So that's where we're sitting right now. So now we're going to wrap this around 3 times. So I am going to include that very first one as my first wrap. So I'm going to keep this nice and taut, and then I'm going to wrap it around nice and snug next to each other. Now I don't want to pull so tight that I buckle up this leather, because you can actually like squish the leather a little too close. So we want to make sure that it's taut, but we're not marring the leather. So that's my 3 times around, and I've got those nice and tight next to each other. So now we're going to work on our pattern. So the best way to do this is to load up your Irish wax linen. So if you're using the ones like this one and this one, we're going to do all of them in the same way, but this one is a little different, and I will explain that after I get these loaded up. So I'm going to put on my first set of flowers. So I'm going to just make sure that that's nice and tight on the end. And then I'm going to put 3 of my main color. So the easiest way to do this is to separate your main color from your accent color, or the middle, whatever we're going to call that. So I'm going to put on 3. And if you can't get it on, just give a little twirl. And then we're going to put on one of our accents, or our middles. I keep calling it accent. It is a middle, but you guys know what I mean, right? This is very different doing this recorded versus live. Now, if you're just jumping on and you're thinking, what's she doing? Why is she not live? Well, I'm away for the weekend. And so the group decided that it was okay for me to do this recorded so that we could still all be together, which was really nice because I was lamenting, going, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So, it's just a little different today, but okay. So now if you were doing this with this grouping, you're going to pick out 2 colors that you like, and then you're going to pop an extra one. So you're going to do 3, and then a purple, and then 3. And I probably wouldn't have too many that look exactly alike, although these ones are the same color and they look fine side by side. So you just have to remember to do 3, and then your purple, and then another 3. So it's exactly the same. It's just going to be different because these are going to be mixed colors. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Okay, so now that this is on, that one came out, so I'm going to wrap that back up again. So I just kind of bring them forward, and now I'm going to isolate 2 of them. And I'm going to pop that on there and get those on there nice and snug. And now I'm going to wrap twice in between. So the first wrap I put fairly close, and the second one I do right next to it. So you can see, hopefully you guys can see that there's 2 little wraps there. Now I'm going to take 3 beads. So I'm going to take my outer, my middle, and the next outer one, and I'm going to pop it in there. Now these middle beads, these turquoise beads, have kind of a gold finish on one side. If you don't want that up to show on there, just kind of, rotate it with your finger, and that'll lock that in there. Okay, so now we pull that around, and now I'm going to go twice in between. So there we go. All right, so I've done my 2 in between, and they're nice and snug, and they're right close up there. So now I'm going to take my last one, and then I form it into the little flower. Look at how cute that looks. And now we're going to go once, twice, 3 times. So now you can see we've got our little grouping here. And this, by doing it 3 in between, you're going to give it a nice little space. So we start off with 3, and then we're going to be doing like 2, 2, 2, and then we end up with 3. Okay? So, and then you have to put it down, and so it sometimes kind of comes off, but you can easily fix that up. So now if you were really smart, you could do some math, and you could figure out how to do this all in one fell swoop, and that you could put your entire pattern on and wrap it, but that's too much for my old brain right now to try and figure out. So I just kind of have to do them one at a time, and hope that it works out. So I have to be completely transparent and honest right now. This is the second time I have filmed this today, and so far it's going much better. But the first one, I did a really great job. I got it all filmed. I was so excited. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This actually turned out really great, and it's going to be a really good video. And then I sat down to export it so that I could, upload it later on, or what you guys are watching today. And yeah, my camera wasn't on. So I was sitting here talking to myself the entire time, and it didn't work. You can leave me a comment below and tell me how silly I am. Good Lord. I was just like, oh, I was agitated. So anyway, this is my second kick at the can today, but I'm sure it's going to be better. All right, so we're going to do our next flower. So you can see that, you want to have it snugged up there, and you're going to make sure that your beads are, centered in between that leather so that it looks good. So now we're going to go nice and snug and go twice. And then we're going to go with our next 3. And then we're going to center those. And then I'm just going to spin that middle one around a little bit. If it has a little bit of color on there and you don't like it, you know, I guess you could pick a different one from the group, but that one's okay. It's got a little bit of color. That's fine. So we've got once, twice, and then we put our last 2 on. Now generally I don't worry about these falling off the end of the Irish wax linen because it's pretty sticky. So now we're going to go 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now the difference between the way that I'm doing it and the way that I did it on here I was kind of just like blasting through this and trying to get it done quickly. And although it looks good, it really did extend this out a lot longer. So by doing it a little tighter, you get a little bit better look, and it doesn't extend out the length of that at all. So just a couple, you know, troubleshooting things, because I think it's always good to understand, you know, why I'm doing something and how you can maybe not that you have to fix something, but you know, maybe you want a different look, maybe you want it to be a bit looser looking or whatever. So I tend to like it a little more snug personally. That's kind of my thing. So hopefully I can get these in here. So I just have to twist that back up, and then it becomes a bit of like a needle. So you guys are getting this pretty much raw, unedited. I had to just edit out a massive cough because I'm still coughing like crazy from being sick. But I thought I'm going to try and keep this as sort of, I'm air quoting, live as possible. It's going to be kind of like as if you guys were watching me live, although it's very strange because I don't have comments and I can't interact with you. So that's one of the downsides of doing it like this. But hey, at least we can all be together. So okay, so now you have to probably bring this one back because it usually pops off when I'm doing the loading up. So I'm going to get that centered and then go once, twice. Now I'm not striving for perfection in that they all have to look identical, because flowers, nothing in nature looks absolutely perfect. So if one's a little, like that's crooked, so I would kind of fix that a little bit. But if something's a little off, like maybe the petal looks a little, you know, uneven or something, I don't really worry about it too much because, you know, it's not meant to be perfect. Although I do try hard to make it look nice. And I guess my best advice on this is keep your tension, and then you will end up with it looking really just the way you want. Look at how cute that looks. I absolutely love this color combination. It's so nice. So I just want to thank everybody while I'm loading this up, and I'll just kind of carry on and chat. If you saw my video okay, I'm pre-recording this, so I have to think about the dates. So it was on Monday, the 28th, I believe. I did my video where I'm talking about how I'm closing my brick and mortar store and just going completely online, which was a really scary thing for me to do. Very, very scary. I was so nervous about putting out the video and what people's reactions were going to be. And honestly, I've only had one negative comment, and there has been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments and just so many views, and everybody's been so sweet. I've received so many lovely emails and so many lovely comments, and everybody's been so understanding and supportive, and they want me to stick around and they want me to get healthy, which is sort of the reason that I'm doing this, you know, partially combined with the way that the world is right now with the economics. So I just want to extend a thank you to everybody that watched my video. So a couple people are a little bit nervous. I think they think I'm going away, that I'm not going to be doing my videos anymore, or that I'm not going to be able to sell my kits. But I have a fully functioning website that has so many items on it. There's over 9,000 SKUs on there. So you'll still be able to get all your favorite things, and I'll actually probably have more time to film because I won't be so, you know, divided with so many things to do. So it's all a good positive thing. It's just sometimes change is hard for people. Everybody likes things the way that, you know, it is right now, including me. I had to really sort of come to a good place with it, and I'm not what I would call a prayer, but I did sit and ponder this for a long time before I made this decision. It wasn't something that I did quickly. So it's all good. It's positive. Everybody's going to be happy. Probably the biggest thing for me is knowing that some of my staff aren't going to be employed anymore. And that was a very hard thing for me because I really do love them. And, you know, that's hard. That's the hard part of being a boss, I guess, is when you know, things are going to change for people and through no fault of their own. But I'm hoping that they can maybe have another opportunity for something out there and I can give them glowing reviews because they're all fantastic. All right, I'm just putting on my next flower. And you know, sometimes these do get, you know, sort of smushed up on the end. So you have to re-twist that. I love working with Irish wax linen, and I know Heather does too. She does it, uses it a lot in her projects. And it's just because it really, it does what you want it to do, which is what I like. You know, it sticks to where you want it to go, and I don't know, it's such a great product, but it is a little weird because like my fingers are a little kind of gummy right now. All right, so I did my 3 in between, so I've got my next little flower loaded up, and then I'm going to do 1 and 2. All right, and then 3. And oh, hopefully you can't hear my tummy growling. It's always weird when I do these and I can hear my own tummy growling. Okay, and then we'll do 3 in between. So this has got just about at that time where that blemish was on the leather, and we're just about to cover it up. So now you can see that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to strive for 7, but if only 6 fits, then that's the way we'll roll today. I don't worry about it. Like if, you know, I provide enough beads so that you can get 7 flowers. You can put 8 on if you want, because you will have plenty of beads. But if you don't get 7 on there, don't think, oh my gosh, I didn't make it right. And I will show you a little trick, a little tip in a second here, once I get this next grouping on. These are very tiny little beads. Oh, I wanted to mention something funny too. I think about all these things all the time when I'm filming. So I had this lovely viewer send me a note that she was concerned because I've been so sick lately, and a lot of people have sent me notes noticing that I haven't looked well and all that sort of stuff. And I'm doing my absolute very best to get healthier. I've lost a bunch of weight and I'm eating better and I'm trying to sleep and, you know, all those things. But when I was so sick with that horrible flu cold thing, I had this lovely viewer mention that my nails looked blue, and she was very concerned about my heart. Well, one, my heart is in great shape. I had it checked because of all the problems I had been having. And so I actually had to see a cardiologist, and he said my heart is super strong, which was good. But what it actually is, I don't know if you can see it today. I can see a little bit of a tinge. I use purple shampoo. Because my hair, I don't like it being super blonde. I like it to have a bit more of an ashy gray tone to it. So I use purple shampoo, which makes my nails turn blue, and I can never get it off no matter what I do. So, you know, that's why I ended up with, you know, sort of blue looking nails. Okay, so now I did say that you can put 7 on there. So you can see right now that I have, let's see, we'll take out the old ruler again. So on this end I have, let's see, 1 3/4, and I haven't finished the 3 on here, but it'll go about there. So it'll be 1. So I could probably put 1 more on because that adds about, yeah, I could probably do 1 more. So you just kind of have to like play with the math. If you like where it lands, then you can end right here. I'll do my 3 and then see what happens. And I must have cut, because I mucked this up, I had to cut another piece, and I don't think it was long enough, but you will have plenty in your kit. So let's just have a look at that now that it's on there. Well, if I put on 1 more, it's going to end up there. So you know what? I am actually just going to keep it right there. So on this one, I only ended up with 6, so maybe I would have started back there a little bit. So let's say you get to here and go, oh, but I really wanted to have 7. All you have to do is just go backwards. Just pull it off like that. You'll have all of your pieces on there anyway. So you can just now move that down a little bit. So there is, you know, this is a fairly forgiving piece in that you can kind of play with it a bit. So to end it off, we're going to go once, twice, and then I'm going to take my next crimp and pop that through there. And then you want to get that to the back. And then I'm going to go around my next time, my third time. Sorry if I'm going off camera there. I saw that I was a little close. And then I'm going to go through the back. So it's just the same as the first one, it's just in reverse. So I've still only got 3 wraps there. And then I'm going to pull this nice and snug because I need that to be on there nice and tight. Now, one of the things I'm going to do, and this is really important, is I'm going to take my finger and pop it on top of that bead there. That is so that I don't get these pliers in the way and crack one of my beads. Now, you will have plenty of beads should that happen, but by putting my finger there, it's a little reminder that I need to keep my pliers out of the way of the beads. And again, I don't want to go out here because we'll mark our leather. So I'm going to sort of come on the inside and get that crimp down. And then you can kind of come inside here and give it a good crimp. So I'm going to get my fingers out of the way. But we just, there's not really a right or a wrong way. You're just trying to get that to stay on there. And sorry if my fingers are in the way. There, get that crimp down nice and tight. And then again, I would cut this, and then I would take some GS Hypo and pop that on both sides, so you can do that now so that it stays there. And you just want to make sure there's nothing sticking out that is sharp. But I always think that the back should look as good as the front. So you want it to be nice and neat in the back. So try to take your time and not have anything crisscrossing or any of that sort of stuff. So you can see we're pretty even. I mean, it's a little bit off on one side, but I wouldn't worry about it. So again, you can maybe start it a little bit down. It's really a forgiving piece, and really it doesn't look a whole lot different if there's one last flower. So, it just it's very forgiving. Okay, so we've got that part on there, and that turned out great. So now we're going to put on our little ribbon end. So I'll just crimp this down. Now they do tend to want to move around, so I sort of get them started with my finger and then get it in there nice and tight. So this one, because it's not cut completely straight, it's wanting to sort of go off a little bit there. So I'm going to try and even that up a bit. There we go. Get rid of that little bit and then stick this back on there. And I'm holding it with my finger to get it to stay where I want it. And I don't want to crimp up here. So I kind of, you just have to hold your tongue the right way and get that smushed down. Now, if you are selling these and you're worried about this staying on, you could also drop a little dab of glue on either side so that the metal has something to grip onto. I've never had one come off, but if you're worried, that's what you could do. All right, so now we've got that on there. We're going to put on our buttons. Now, if you've watched my videos before, you know that I always attach buttons or toggles with 3 jump rings. And the reason that I do that is if this was only on with 1, it would be really snug in there, and that's how things break and come apart. So I think it's really important that you leave yourself a little bit of wiggle room, and that literally is what it is a wiggle room. So I always put 3 on. So we're going to open up this one here, and I find it easiest to use a pair of bent chain nose pliers, and a pair of pliers. That one is tough. These are a very strong little jump ring. They're 4mm 18 gauge, and I often get asked why I use that. Well, that's because I think it's best to use the smallest and heaviest gauge that you can. And these ones are just the best that I've really come across. And they come in, I think, 7 different colors. So sometimes you have to get a little bossy with them though, because they are very strong. And we do give you a couple extras in your kit because sometimes they will go awry, just because they're the nature of it. They're made out of wire. So sometimes they'll break, or you get so that it doesn't work right. And so we give you extra ones just in case something goes wrong. So we're never just going to give you exactly what you need. We're going to give you a little extra. See, that one just broke. That was because I had opened that one up before. So, because this is the one that I made before. So I'm going to take the jump ring off of here so that I can continue on with this video without stopping and starting, and then perhaps not actually having my video on like what happened before. I couldn't believe that that happened. Oh my goodness. I try to let things just kind of roll these days, but you know, it is frustrating, especially when you're on a bit of a time crunch. But all right, we'll get that one done up, and let's hope this one doesn't break. Get a good, whoops. Honestly, I do know how to close a jump ring. I'm just having a problem with this today. All right, get that. Got to boss it around. Just have to tell it where to go. All right, so there we go. We've got that on the end. And now we're going to take our barrel knot tube and our leather. So I'm going to run my leather through here, and I'm going to leave about maybe, pardon me, maybe about 2 inches or so on one end, and then a long piece on the top. So let me get all this stuff out of the way so that you can see what I'm doing here. There, yeah, that'll be a little better. So I'm pretty sure you've seen me make barrel knots, but in case you've never seen me do them before, what we're going to do is keep this one on the long side on the top, and we're going to take our tube and pop that in between. And yes, I do sell those tubes, and I'll try to make sure I put a link in there somewhere so that you can, you know, it will come with the kit, but if you wanted to buy them by themselves. All right, so I'm going to take this long one, and I'm going to go around, and I'm going to work towards my left hand. And I'm going to go 3 times, nice and neat, nice and snug. And then I'm going to take that one that I was working with and go through the back end of the tube. And then it comes out the tube so that I can pull that off, and then I'm going to tighten that up. Now I want to make sure that this goes up towards the leather, but I don't want it like smushed right next to the leather. We need to have a little bit of wiggle room there. Because we want this to be flexible. If it was really tight, then it might start, you know, causing some friction issues, and we don't want that. So then I would, I've got my button here, so I know that I need to have a hole that's about that big. So now I'm going to repeat, but I turned it over so that my long piece is, the long piece is on the top. Sorry if you can hear my, I'm in my basement, which is not optimal for recording. So my furnace just came on, if you're wondering what that noise is. Okay, so I'm going to wrap around 3 times, and then I'm going to come through the back end of my tube, and then pull the tube off, and then pull this, but I'm not going to tighten it up quite yet. I'm just going to get it started and show you a couple things. So one is, sometimes this is what will happen. It'll go like this. So that means that this needs, the shorter one needs to be pulled out. So you need to pull that. You also will now want to check with your button and make sure that your button will fit through there. Leather will stretch, so you don't want to start off with it too big. So I just make it so it just fits. Now that I know that that fits, I'm going to put my thumbnail sort of right where I want that. Make sure this one's tight. And then I'm going to take the long one and really tighten it up. Now you're not going to have a lot to pull with there, so you're going to kind of have to like really get in there and tighten it up. So you can kind of pull, and then if it buckles in there again, just take that one and pull it out. So there we go. That's exactly what we want. And then you can trim off however you see fit. If you like it longer, you can leave it longer. And now my glue is not working very well. I'll see if I can get it to work. I could not get it out earlier, but we'll see if it looks like it's coming out. Is it coming out there? You know, sometimes things just don't work, and this is one of those days. So I would put a little bit of glue right here. Oh yeah, I can see that it's coming out. So right where it kind of crosses there, and then right here, I would put a little bit of glue, because this is the end that's going to take all the punishment, because that's your clasp. So I would put a little more than I'm putting. And then over here too, right where it crosses. So just to make sure that things aren't going to move. And especially if you're selling your stuff. Yeah, there's no way that I'm going to do that on camera, so I'm not even going to bother. Okay, so let me clear off some of this stuff and show you the end result here. I have stuff everywhere because, like I said, this is my second time doing this today. But, you know, I think it all worked out for the better, because I'm actually happier with the quality of this recording than the last one. Okay, so there we go. We've got 6 on this one with our nice little end, and that one's still drying, but you can see if I do it up how cute that one looks. Now I'm just going to try and do it up. So what did we start off with? Does anybody remember the amount that I cut, what we had? I think it was just under, was it 6.5 inches is what I had, I think, or something like that. And I have this fancy dancy little thing. Now we're not selling them at the moment, but this gives me a good idea. So that fits about a 7 to a 7 1/4. So you just kind of have to, you know, do a little bit of math and to make your sizing right. So that is the Algaean teal, and here is the blue and bronze. Get these done up. They look a little nicer when they're done up. And then we've got my flower one. Oops, sorry for the noise. And there's the flower one. So maybe leave a comment below and tell me which one is your favorite. Of course, you know, for me, it's a toss-up between these two. I don't know which one I like better. Maybe this one, because that's just me. But a lot of people, we sold so many of these kits, and I way overbought. So I've got tons of kits left. So if you haven't bought yours yet, these will be available. So I will leave a link below, and you just go to the link and it'll take you to the website. So make sure you drop a comment and tell me which one you like. And I really want to thank you guys for joining me, not live today. This is a little bit different for me, and it's been a little sort of confusing as to what I'm supposed to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop off of here and then do another, like an exit, because I'm going to give you some information that you need to know. So make sure that you hang on for 2 seconds, because I need to put makeup on and look good when I'm doing this. So, so I'm not going to include it on this part of the video. So you're going to see an intro, and then you'll have this tutorial, and then there's going to be an exit where I'm going to, you know, sort of do some housekeeping things and tell you some things that you're going to need to know. So there's the 3 bracelets, and I really hope that you enjoyed them. And give me 2 seconds, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So I hope you really enjoyed that. Wasn't it fun? I just think that is a really cute bracelet, and I'm particularly in love with the end I did on there, the clasp section. I just think it looks so nice. Now, we do pre-punch that leather for you, so don't have to worry about it. We do sell some punches. They're not online, so if you are interested in a punch, just send me a message. I think I have a couple in stock, and we can always work something out behind the scenes, okay? So that is that. So I'm just going to reiterate a couple things. So you can get 20% off on your order today up until Monday, April 11th. All the dates, they tend to get stuck in my brain. So you just need to use the coupon code SPRING. Just type SPRING in the box, press apply, and you'll get 20% off of your entire order, except kits, clearance, and tools. All right, so that's the first one. Make sure you have left a comment somewhere along the way telling me what your weather is like in your area. And when you do that, I'm going to pick 2 lucky winners for a free kit. Also, now make sure you leave a comment that tells me which one was your favorite color, and I will also pick 2 lucky winners for a free kit. Now, the third time, I'm making you guys work for this today, right? So, because I'm not here, so I have to be silly, and you guys can't stop me because I'm not live, right? So I want you to leave me one more comment. Now for this comment, you're going to have the opportunity to win one of 2 $25 gift certificates to my online store. And I know that the people that won last time really enjoyed what they got, so make sure you leave a comment. So now what I want to know from you is, what would you like to see me create? I get a lot of comments asking me to do certain things, and I've already done them, and I refer them back to people or to some of my prior videos. I'm like, hey, go watch this video because I already did that. But is there something that I've never done that you'd like to see me do? Don't ask me to do kumihimo. I can do it, but I don't really enjoy it. I can't really do metal smithing because it's too hard to do on camera because it'll fry out my camera. I'm pretty, adept at a lot of things, but I want to know what you would like to see me do, whether it's a certain style, maybe a technique, maybe it's a weird color combination that you've just been dying to see. Maybe it is like I don't know, some fashion trend that's out there right now. So let me know what you would like to see me create, and I will choose 2 lucky winners for $25 gift certificates to my online store. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed your day. I'm sure the presentations were fabulous. Everybody is so creative in this group, and you guys are really lucky that we found you. Is that like patting myself on the back? I think it's just a wonderful community that we've created, and we've sort of replaced all the bead shows and classes that have disappeared over the last couple of years. So tomorrow morning is Abby Berta, and I actually don't even know what Abby's creating this time, but you know with Abby, it's always something lovely, and then we have the rest of the people for the rest of the day. So I want to thank you so much for watching. It really does mean a lot to all of us that you're so kind and loving and supportive of us and supportive of our small businesses. It means the world to all of us. So me and my googly eyes right about now are probably sipping my first beverage. Well, you know, that's probably already a couple hours ago because my friends like to party. So cheers to you. I hope you have a fabulous evening. Thank you again for watching, and make sure to tune in tomorrow morning for Abby, and have a really great weekend, and we will talk to you guys soon. All right? Love you guys.